witchcraft and magic, vaulting ambition, a battle between the forces of good and evil, and epic fight scenes. What's not to like about Shakespeare's Macbeth? But what I really love about this play is the way it provides us with an opportunity to think about what witchcraft may have meant to Shakespeare's contemporaries. When early audiences saw the play's witches on stage, did these represent mere superstition, to be mocked rather than feared? Or did they strike terror in their hearts, representing something altogether more frightening, a genuine concern about the dangers of the dark arts? I want to think about this question through an object, and here it is. It's a humble bottle. But what has a bottle, I hear you ask, got to do with Shakespeare's Macbeth? Well, this bottle represents a phenomenon, that of counter-magic. Counter-magic being a ritual practice designed to ward off or stop witches' magic. The object I want to explore through this is the witch bottle, as it has come to be known by archaeologists. And this is an object which opens up for us an occult world by giving us an insight into how witchcraft itself was believed to work. So what is a witch bottle? The image you can see here represents a witch bottle which was only fairly recently discovered in Greenwich in London. In the 17th century, if you believed that a witch was practicing evil magic against you, one thing you might do to break that spell is prepare a witch bottle. But what went into it? How did these bottles work? Well, here's a demonstration, and this is where Shakespeare meets Harry Potter. So I'm going to give you a demonstration of how to manufacture a witch bottle. So what normally went into a witch bottle? Well, you'd first take your bottle, and then you'd add some nails or pins to it. And so this is what I'm doing here. And these would often be bent, making them harder to take out of the bottle. I'm not going to attempt to bend these here, but you get the idea. So you'd put your nails or your pins in the bottle. You'd also take a lock of the victim's hair. So I've got some string here, which represents hair. So I'm popping that in the bottle. In addition to that, you would add some salt. So here's a teaspoon of salt. So I'm just popping that in, trying to do that carefully without spilling it everywhere. So you've got your salt, your nails, and a lock of the victim's hair in your witch bottle. But there's a vital ingredient missing, which we know from chemical testing from bottles which archaeologists have discovered. And that's human urine. Now, where can I find human urine? Only joking, this isn't urine, of course. This is just some water with some food colouring in it, but you get the idea. I'm building up a picture in your minds here as to how these witch bottles worked. So just pouring some of that human urine into the witch bottle, and then you'd block that bottle up and you'd bury it or burn it. And normally when you buried it, you'd bury it upside down in the ground. And that was believed to ward off evil magic. And this was confirmed by the Greenwich witch bottle and the work that archaeologists had done in trying to discover its mysterious contents. So what did they find when they opened it? Well, as you can see from this image here, they found bent iron nails, brass pins, and cuttings of the victim's hair. And what's really interesting about this bottle is that these cuttings of hair belong to someone suffering from a particularly bad case of head lice. And when I looked closely at this bottle, when I examined it in situ in Greenwich, I could see traces of lice still clinging to the hair. The sufferer also added, as well as their own human urine, and 250 mils of that survive in glass vials till today, which is incredible to think that 400-year-old urine still survives. And this bottle was examined by Dr. Alan Massey. And Dr. Massey also discovered through chemical testing that the urine belonged to a smoker. So fancy that, traces of tobacco were found in this 400-year-old urine. The victim also added more organic ingredients. They added cuttings from their own fingernails. And you can see those in this image blackened by time. So lots of organic matter from the individual went into these witch bottles, believing they could preserve the victim from the witch's magic. And lots of these witch bottles have been discovered by archaeologists, and these and other similar ritual objects designed to protect the home against witchcraft have been found buried near the thresholds of homes, under doorways or near windows or near fireplaces. But why the thresholds? Well, these were considered the weakest points of the home, most in need of special protection against demonic forces. The prevalence of such practices indicates that many people were genuinely afraid of witches and sought ways of protecting themselves against them. But how were witch bottles actually believed to work? What is it that made them effective against witches? Well, we have some evidence from an account by Joseph Blagrave, and it's a kind of recipe for how to make a witch bottle, and I'll just read that for you. Stop the urine of the patient close up in a bottle and put into it 3 nails, pins or needles with a little white salt, keeping the urine always warm. If you let it remain long in the bottle, it will endanger the witch's life. The reason why the witch is tormented is because there is part of the vital spirit of the witch in it, for such is the subtlety of the devil, that he will not suffer the witch to infuse any poisonous matter in the body of man or beast without some of the witch's blood mingled with it. So the witch bottle worked because the victim's own bodily matter, their fingernail cuttings and hair for instance, were saturated with the witch's poisoned vital spirits. But what are vital spirits? Well, this was believed to be part of the blood. It's a kind of ethereal essence which is part of your blood and was believed to sustain life. It was, in other words, the very stuff of life. Witches' magic, therefore, was believed to work through the pouring of their dangerous and corrupted blood and vital spirits into the bodies of their victims. Now, if you place that biological matter from the victim into a witch bottle, like this one, it turned that magic back against the offending witch, breaking the spell. But what I find interesting about Shakespeare's play is how these elements of witchcraft and the way that vital spirits act as a vehicle for them are transferred to Lady Macbeth. We see this when Lady Macbeth thinks about convincing her husband to kill King Duncan and seize the throne for himself. And this is a speech we might view in a new way in light of the archaeological evidence afforded by these mysterious witch bottles. So I'll just read you a bit of that scene now. So this is Lady Macbeth. She says, "I fear thy nature. It is too full of the milk of human kindness to catch the nearest way. Thou wouldst be great, art not without ambition, but without the illness should attend it. Hie thee hither, that I may pour my spirits in thine ear. Come, you spirits, that tend on mortal thoughts, unsex me here, and fill me from the crown to the toe, top full of direst cruelty. Make thick my blood, stop up the access and passage to remorse, that no compunctious visitings of nature shake my fell purpose, nor keep peace between the effect and it." Lady Macbeth here imagines herself as a vessel filling up with thickened blood. This thickening, according to the medical theories of the time, would stagnate and consequently corrupt and poison the vital spirits contained within her blood. And these are vital spirits which she wants to pour into Macbeth to corrupt his milk of human kindness with the illness she believes it is lacking. Her influence over Macbeth is here presented as working in almost exactly the same way as witches' magic was believed to work. Remember, what the witch's bottle tells us is that witches' magic works through the infusion of the witch's blood and vital spirits into their victims. And here, Lady Macbeth proposes to do something strangely similar, to infect Macbeth with her own dangerous vital spirits. Today, when we think about the witches, we might imagine them much as Hans Baldwin Green did in these illustrations of witches. Outlandish, otherworldly, alien. But perhaps Shakespeare is telling us that the most dangerous, most disturbing form of witchcraft isn't really magic at all. It's the influence of someone dangerously familiar to you. The kind of influence that this represents takes place not out there in a strange and alien landscape, in mysterious witches' sabbaths and demonic rituals, but happens in the home and through those closest to you. This charges the idea of witchcraft with a troubling intimacy, and in ways which may have lent the play a different, altogether more personal dimension of terror for Shakespeare's first audiences. So next time you look at a bottle, you might think about Shakespeare's Macbeth in an entirely different way. Thank you.